Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Jurassic Zoological Garden. And in today's video we are going to finish the wetlands area of the zoo with a habitat for the beautiful Dilophosaurus. So let's get started. In the last couple of videos we've been building in the wetlands area of the zoo, even though I didn't really want to make like big areas in this project. It still kind of came out that I have this little wetland area in here. And in the last episode where we built for the Suchomimus, I just wanted to have one last habitat in this area that will be on the other side of the Suchomimus habitat, as this area would have been a little bit too barren if there would have not been any habitat. So I wanted to add one last animal before the path is looping back into the first area of the zoo, which doesn't really have a theme, so I don't know what the journey is going to bring us for the zoo, but right now I'm just really happy that we have finished the wetlands area. And in the last episode I asked you guys what animal you wanted to see or what suggestions you have for this little section right next to the Suchomimus, and I did receive some really nice suggestions, not only for this area but generally some dinosaurs that I can add in the zoo. And I was a little bit tempted to maybe build a habitat somewhere else in the zoo before I do this one, but as I was scrolling through all the dinosaurs that we have in this game, I came across the Dilophosaurus, and I don't know why, but I just really like this dinosaur. And in the info tab in this game, it's also written that it likes the wetlands area, so I thought it would be a really nice idea to add this animal, especially since I didn't really want to have any big dinosaurs in this area, since the Suchomimus already has quite a large habitat. So I wanted to go with something more small to medium sized, and I was also thinking about adding a herbivore like the Parasaurolophus or the Edmontosaurus, which was also suggested by someone in the comments in the last video. But in the end I decided to do the Dilophosaurus. I just kind of fell in love as I saw it, and I really wanted to build something for this dinosaur. I don't know what exactly it is, but I just really like this dinosaur. Maybe it is just the look of it with this frilled neck, and maybe also since it was included in the original Jurassic Park movies. So I don't know why, but I just really like this dinosaur, so I thought let's just go with it. And I feel like you guys definitely love habitats for carnivorous species, so I thought why not just add this. And in the next episode we are going to go back into the other area of the zoo and start build something else, and I will definitely continue with some sort of herbivore, maybe an omnivore. I don't really have any ideas so far, but for now I'm just really happy, and especially since I've just come back from vacation and only had time for 2 days to build something, so I just had to do something that was quick. I didn't really need a lot of thinking to do, honestly, so this was just perfect. Since we are still in the wetlands area, it is clear what the habitat is going to look like, but I wanted to give it a little bit of a twist so it doesn't look exactly the same like the Suchomimus habitat or from the Deinonychus or something. So I wanted to do a little bit differently than with the previous habitats and still keep this wetlands theme. And as I was scrolling through Pinterest, I saw a picture of a habitat. I have absolutely no idea what animal it was, since there was no animal in the picture itself, but it was basically just a little water area with a small waterfall in the back between some rocks, and then there were palm trees and big ferns on the sides, and right next to the water, which was really shallow and just some fallen down trees over it, there were really tiny plants just throughout the whole area. And it looked like it's like a swamp, and there's just a bunch of tiny plants slowly growing there. And I kind of wanted to recreate this at least a tiny bit, and I kept the water with only this swampy brush, and only for the waterfall I actually use like proper water with the shallow water brush. I try to make it as small as possible so that I do have this little waterfall stream going down, but not like any proper water area. And I just stick with the brush to keep it really shallow and that the dinosaurs can also walk through there. And I didn't really want to have like a big amount of water in there, so I felt like this was just perfect and also gave it this really swampy look. And then for these areas, I really love to use these flat rocks. I especially really like the sides of them, and I just like to place them right next to these water areas or swampy areas, so it looks like there's a sort of like a natural barrier from mud or rocks, which is kind of holding back the water and the moisture, and behind there's like normal soil. I already used this technique for the habitat for the Deinonychus and I absolutely love this, so I did recreate this sort of, but I will later give this habitat a little bit of a twist with different foliages than compared to the Deinonychus habitat, so it doesn't look like a copy. I sometimes do struggle with building habitats in one area and not making them look too similar, so I did want to do this like wetlands theme, but for this one I decided to use different plants. For example, I will later use a lot of palms, more ferns, also a variety of little plants that I will scatter throughout the whole habitat, and overall this habitat will be much more lush compared to the other habitats that we already have in this area. And definitely let me know what you think about this in the comments, as I was a little bit skeptical with using all of these plants, but I feel like in the end it does look really great. It does look like a forest right next to a swamp, which is really lush, a lot of like hiding areas for the dinosaurs so that it could hunt and ambush their prey, even though there is no prey in this habitat, but we are just going to pretend that it looks like their natural habitat. And to make the habitat look as natural as possible, I again used the rock walls, since I also used the rock walls in the front of the habitat where there's almost like peeking holes through those glass barriers so that the guests can actually see the animals or dinosaurs. And I did also use it like for more than half of the habitat, I would say, especially in the back, but on the side I decided to do some fencing so it does not look like a bowl just in the rocks. So I wanted to give it like a little bit of a twist, and by making it really lush behind the fencing, I want to make it look like it almost blends with the habitat and that you can almost not see that there's a fence, so it does look really lush and not like a harsh cut where the habitat is ending. And of course I use a ton of different rocks. I'm definitely using a lot of these tropical rocks, or basically only using the tropical rocks. I just love this like brownish tint to them, and they also really fit to this tropical wetlands theme. And of course I again use this little rock group with the grass in between, and I scattered it everywhere around the habitat to just give this a lot of structure, a lot of rocks. And also again use the big grass patch and scatter it around the whole habitat to give like a good start or like a good base for this habitat. For the wetlands ones, I really love to put out a great base of rocks and then this grass, and this really gives a lot of structure to the habitat and almost like a guideline on where I'm going to place other types of foliages. And since I wanted to have this really lush, I definitely started with the ferns again. And this time I also did use these really big ferns. I have almost never used them before. I know that we had this piece also in Planet Zoo, but I've rarely used it because it's just so ginormous. But for this time I did take the risk and use it, and in the end I really like the result. And I definitely used a bunch of different tropical looking plants all around. As I said in some videos before, I do struggle a little bit with the plants in this game, simply because we do not have a favorites tab. So I really wanted to step out of my comfort zone and use plants that I have not used yet. And in the end, I feel like it does come out quite well. And for these little plants that I was speaking about earlier, I used these plants, I don't know what they're called, from the flowers tab, and made a little group and then placed it all around. And since I had random scale and random rotation on, it was also actually varying the spacing between the plants so that the whole group was like spaced out more, which was actually quite nice. I didn't know that the game was doing so, and I placed that around in these open areas. In the moment, it does look a little bit weird, I have to say. I was also quite skeptical when I started this, but at this point I just trusted the process and wanted to add more and more plants, and in the end it does blend in more and gives it this look that I was trying to achieve relatively well. While I was building for this habitat, or even just thinking about this habitat, I was really excited to actually finish off this area, which also means that I can continue with the rest of the zoo. I am not quite sure how many more habitats I want to build, but I feel like this zoo is slowly getting to a size where I am close to finishing it. I think there will be like a handful more of habitats before I will actually finish off this whole project. And I am also really excited to make like my first walkthrough of a whole zoo, since I haven't really been finishing any project at all in the past time. So this will be really exciting, which will also mean that I can start a new project, and I am slowly thinking about what I want to do with the next Jurassic World Evolution 3 zoo that I'm going to build. And I do have the options or the thoughts of starting a zoo which will be more of like a proper realistic zoo, which just has dinosaurs instead of the animals that we have at the moment. So for example, I would build a habitat where nowadays there would be a rhino house, but then I would place down a triceratops, or a habitat for a giraffe, and I would place down a sauropod. So this is sort of the idea that I have, which would be also quite nice, as I would be more back into this Planet Zoo style building with like actual zoo habitats. But also I was thinking about maybe doing something a little bit more themed. For example, the like real zoo that I would build would just be like a city zoo, which would have different sections with themings, but not like a theme throughout the whole zoo. On the other hand, I was thinking about making a zoo, for example, in a desert theme, so everything would be desert dinosaur, or all the habitats would be like desert and safari style, savanna style, which is also an idea, which would also mean that it would be more of a little bit smaller zoo. So I'm not quite sure if I want to go this big path with like a big city zoo where I can have different sections, which would also mean that it would take quite some time for it to finish. But on the other hand, I can build for basically all of the dinosaurs that we have in this game, or just theoretically I would not actually do all of the dinosaurs, as I think that would just be too much. But this is basically the idea. Let me know what you think or what you would like to see. And also, maybe you even have different ideas. Sometimes you guys really come up with some good stuff, so I always love to hear your thoughts and your ideas, what I can do, and maybe I will just snatch an idea and do it. But before I start planning the next zoo, I am definitely going to finish this one. And since we are leaving the wetlands area, I am not quite sure what dinosaur I want to continue. So I will most likely start a poll in the next days on what animal or what dinosaur I should start building next for. So I will maybe get like a small section or selection of dinosaurs I would like to build, and then I will let you guys decide what I will actually be building in the zoo. This habitat will be quite close to the entrance actually, since the wetlands area kind of looped really to the side of the zoo, and so I need to go back to the front of the zoo and actually continue building there. But back to the Dilophosaurus habitat. As you can see, I've placed down a bunch of different plants, trees, bushes and flowers. So this is coming along really nicely, and I'm just placing down a couple of last details, some more rocks to give the open areas a bit more structure. And we are almost finished with this habitat, so I will see you in the cinematic shots. And this is the finished result of the Dilophosaurus habitat, and I'm extremely happy with this one, even though I was a little bit skeptical in the beginning due to the foliage and all the plants. But in the end, I truly love this habitat, and I love to see the dinosaurs walk around there, and I can definitely picture them stalking their prey throughout the bushes and hiding in there and hunting their prey as a group. Let me know what you think about this habitat in the comments, and if you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you're not missing out any more videos that are about to come for the zoo. And I'm already saying my goodbyes and leaving you with the last cinematic shots to enjoy the finished result, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Until then, bye guys!